Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you clean your home, that musty, damp smell keeps coming back? Or worse, have you ever found dark stains on your walls, cabinets, or bathroom and didn't know what to do? Moisture and mold are not just aesthetic problems. They can harm your health and compromise the structure of your home. What if I told you that there was a way to eliminate damp and mold effectively without having to spend on expensive products or complicated renovations? Today, I'm going to show you simple, natural, and accessible methods to end this problem once and for all. Staying until the end of this video can make all the difference in your home and your health, because in addition to learning how to remove mold, you'll also discover how to prevent it from coming back, creating a dry, cool, and safe environment for you and your family. You walk into your room or closet, you smell that strange smell. You look at the corner of the wall and there it is, a dark, widespread, insistent mold. You clean it, wipe it down, use some product with a strong smell, and a few days later, it comes back. This happens because the problem goes beyond what meets the eye. Moisture accumulates silently, settles in cracks, on walls, on clothes, and creates the perfect environment for mold to grow. And when it sets in, it's not just a visual or olfactory nuisance, it's a real risk to your health. Continuous exposure to mold can cause allergic attacks, respiratory problems, headaches, fatigue, and even more serious infections. And what seems like just a little stain on the wall, over time, can compromise entire furniture, clothes, and even the structure of your home. But the truth is that you don't have to live with it anymore. There is a practical and affordable way to solve this problem, and the best, without having to resort to expensive or complicated solutions. Today, I'm going to show you how to combat damp and mold using simple, natural, and effective strategies that really work. You will understand what really causes this problem, how to nip it in the bud, and most importantly, how to stop it from coming back. If you are tired of cleaning, losing clothes, and living with the discomfort of humidity, this video is for you. The good news is that yes, there is a solution, and it is closer than you think. We're not talking about expensive reforms, nor about miracle products that promise immediate results, but don't work in the long term. What you will learn here are practical, natural, and tested methods that act directly on the causes of damp and mold, not just the symptoms. Eliminating mold and moisture requires more than cleaning the visible stain. You need to understand the environment as a whole. What is causing this excess humidity, lack of ventilation, infiltration, poor air circulation in furniture? Each point has a specific solution, and that's what we'll explore step by step. Throughout this content, you will learn how to identify where humidity hides, how to use products you already have at home to combat mold, how to properly ventilate environments even on cold days, and how to protect your furniture, clothes, and personal objects preventively. You will realize that with small changes in habits and simple actions, it is possible to completely transform the environment in your home, leaving it lighter, drier, healthier, and most importantly, you don't need to be an expert to apply these solutions. Everything you will hear here can be done by yourself with low cost and lasting results. In the end, you will not only know how to eliminate mold, but you will also understand what to do so that it never comes back. Because living in a clean, dry, healthy environment shouldn't be a luxury. It should be the standard. Now that you know that this problem can be resolved, let's get straight to the point. Next, I'll show you 10 strategies that really work to get rid of damp and mold in your home. Each of them solves a specific part of the problem, and together, they form a complete solution. Tip 1. Daily ventilation. The first invisible step that changes everything. Mold does not appear out of nowhere. He needs a favorable environment, still air, little light, and especially humidity. And if there is a simple action that can prevent most of the problem before it even appears, it is this: ventilate the environments well. It may seem too basic, but that's precisely why many people ignore it. Leaving windows closed all day, especially on cold or humid days, creates the perfect scenario for moisture to build up. And what starts with that stuffy smell in the closet soon turns into stains on the walls. mold on clothes, and discomfort in the air. The solution: every day, open doors and windows for at least 15 to 30 minutes. If the weather is humid or rainy, still allow air to circulate, even for a shorter period of time. The secret is not how much wind comes in, but in the air exchange. This helps to renew the atmosphere in the room, reduces the concentration of vapor in the air, and prevents humidity from being trapped inside the home. In cabinets, the care must be the same. From time to time, open wardrobe doors, especially those closest to cold walls. Let the air in, even if just for a few minutes, and if possible, avoid placing large furniture against walls completely. Leave at least 2 or 3 fingers of distance between the furniture and the wall so that air can circulate behind it. In naturally more humid places, such as the bathroom or laundry room, make it a habit to always leave the window open after showering or using the sink. A simple small fan can help a lot in these cases, even if used for just a few minutes. Ventilation is the first step because it acts where the problem originates, in the air. Without air exchange, humidity sets in. With constant ventilation, mold loses the ideal environment to grow. It may seem too simple to be effective, but try applying this every day and notice how the smell changes. The environment becomes lighter, the walls dry faster, and signs of mold simply stop appearing. Tip 2. Natural dehumidification. How to remove excess moisture from the air without expensive devices. When the humidity in the environment is too high, there is no point in just ventilating. Sometimes, even with windows open, the air is still humid, and that's where mold finds the perfect place to settle. But the good news is that you can reduce this humidity in the air without having to buy any expensive equipment. Yes, with simple ingredients that you may already have at home. The first of these is coarse salt. That's right. Coarse salt has the ability to absorb humidity from the environment silently and continuously. To use, it's simple. Take a glass or plastic jar, put a few spoons of coarse salt inside, and position this jar in strategic corners of the house, such as inside the wardrobe, under the sink, behind sofas, or close to cold walls. Over time, the salt will begin to become moist, and depending on the humidity level in the area, a small amount of water may even form at the bottom of the pot. When this happens, simply discard the salt and repeat the process. If you want to enhance the effect even further, you can add a little baking soda mixed with salt. Another powerful ally is charcoal. Just like salt, charcoal has the ability to absorb moisture from the air and also neutralize odors. Place pieces of charcoal inside an open container or inside a cloth bag and position them in the same strategic places. It's discreet, efficient, and lasts for weeks. These solutions are especially useful in closed cabinets, shoe racks, drawers, and windowless bathrooms. Small environments tend to accumulate more vapor, and that's where these natural solutions make all the difference. You can also use silica gel, those little balls that come in bags with shoes and bags. If you have access to more of them, know that they also work as natural dehumidifiers. There are reusable versions which can be dried in the oven and reused for months. These methods are simple, cheap, and really work. By removing excess moisture from the air, you break the mold cycle before it even starts. And the drier the environments, the fresher and more pleasant they are on a daily basis. Tip 3. Strategic cleaning. How to eliminate mold from the surface without spreading it further. When mold has already appeared, whether on the walls, in the corners of the ceiling, behind furniture, or in drawers, the most common impulse is to grab a cloth, some bleach, and start scrubbing. But here's the problem. The way you clean could actually be spreading mold spores further into the air. Mold is a fungus, and it spreads invisibly. When you scrub a moldy wall without the right care, these spores come loose and end up settling in other areas of the house, and that's why it always comes back. Even when you've cleaned it all up, the first thing to understand is that you should not start cleaning mold when the surface is dry. This lifts particles. The ideal is to always moisten the affected area first. To do this, prepare a natural solution, pure white vinegar. It is antifungal, disinfectant, and one of the most effective methods for killing mold at its roots. Apply the vinegar directly to the stain and let it act for at least 30 minutes. The ideal is to use a spray bottle so that the product penetrates the porosities of the wall, furniture, or surface. After this time of action, clean with a damp cloth. And here comes another important point. Discard that cloth or wash it immediately with hot water and soap. If the stain is stubborn, you can reinforce the process by mixing vinegar with baking soda. It will form a foam, which helps loosen mold and neutralize odors. This technique is excellent for tiles, grout, and bathroom areas where mold tends to accumulate. And remember, never use vinegar together with bleach. This mixture is dangerous, releases toxic gases, and should not be done under any circumstances. Choose one or the other. If you prefer to use bleach, dilute it with water, 1 part bleach to 3 parts water, and follow the same application and rinsing process. After removing the mold, it is essential to dry completely the area. Use a dry cloth, a fan, or even a hairdryer to ensure no residual moisture remains. This makes all the difference in preventing the fungus from returning. Correct cleaning is a game changer. It's not enough to erase visible mold. You need to make it actually disappear from the roots. And this only happens with the right product, the right time of action, and the right care in handling. Tip 4. Furniture away from the wall. A small detail that prevents invisible humidity. Have you ever noticed mold stains appearing behind the sofa, wardrobe, or cabinets against the wall? Even if the front of the furniture is clean and dry, mold sneaks up on the back, and sometimes before you know it, the wall is already stained, the furniture is damaged, and the musty smell has taken over the room. This happens because when a large piece of furniture is placed directly against the wall, it prevents air from circulating freely. The wall by itself tends to retain some moisture, especially if it is external, is in contact with plumbing, or receives little light. When you place a piece of furniture there, the space is sealed. Without ventilation, moisture gets trapped. The wall starts to sweat from behind, and mold silently settles in. The solution is simple. Move the furniture away from the wall. You don't have to be much. 5 to 10 centimeters is enough to allow air circulation. This small gap creates an invisible ventilation corridor, which allows the wall to breathe and prevents moisture from accumulating. If the space is very small and you can't move everything away, choose larger and heavier furniture, such as wardrobes, shelves, racks, and beds with backs. These are the ones that block air circulation the most and tend to accumulate moisture faster. And here's a reinforcement. Open cabinet doors and drawers frequently, especially those that are on colder walls or south-facing walls, which receive less sun. A simple habit of leaving the doors open for a few minutes makes a huge difference in prevention. Another tip is to avoid stacking boxes or objects directly on the floor, especially if they are in corners or behind furniture. Even plastic boxes can impede air circulation and retain moisture. Whenever possible, keep objects a little elevated or with free space around them. This precaution may seem small, but it is one of the most efficient ways to avoid silent mold, the one that only appears when it has already caused damage. Moving furniture away from the wall is cheap, easy, requires no effort, and can save your furniture, your clothes, and even your walls. In fact, if you are enjoying these tips and want to continue receiving practical solutions like this to make your home lighter, cleaner, and healthier, take this moment to subscribe to the channel. It's fast, free, and so you don't miss any of the next videos that can transform the way you take care of your home. Now let's continue, because the next strategies will surprise you. Tip 5. Mold-free bathroom. How to dry the environment and permanently prevent stains. The bathroom is, without a doubt, one of the most challenging environments when it comes to mold and humidity. After all, we are talking about a place that receives steam every day, with little natural ventilation and surfaces that retain water for long periods. And it's no surprise that the bathroom ceiling, tile grout, and even the shower stall are usually the first places where mold appears. What many people don't realize is that even if they clean the bathroom frequently, mold can return within a few days if the environment remains constantly humid. Therefore, the key is not just cleaning, but efficient drying of space after use. The first step is to create the habit of leave the door and window open after showering. Even if the window is small, it helps to renew the air. And if the bathroom doesn't have a window, leave the door open and use a fan for a few minutes to circulate the air. This simple gesture helps the steam escape and prevents it from condensing on the ceiling and walls. Another essential care is dry the shower and walls with a wheel or dry cloth after showering. Does it seem exaggerated? Be aware that this habit prevents water from accumulating for hours, accelerating the appearance of black stains on the grout and mold in the corners. And there's more. Check if your bathroom ceiling has anti-mold paint. Today, there are specific paints that inhibit the growth of fungi and help keep the surface clean for much longer. If mold on the ceiling recurs in your home, it's worth considering this change during your next painting. To keep the environment always cool, you can also place a jar of baking soda or coarse salt in a dry corner of the bathroom. These natural ingredients constantly absorb moisture from the air and prevent the environment from becoming saturated. And if you want an extra boost, use a solution of white vinegar with a few drops of essential oil, such as tea tree, eucalyptus, or lavender, to spray weekly on the shower walls and tiles. In addition to preventing mold, it will leave the environment with a pleasant smell and a prolonged feeling of cleanliness. Keeping the bathroom dry is not impossible. It's a sum of small daily habits that, when applied consistently, make mold simply disappear. Tip 6. Protected fabrics. How to prevent clothes and towels from accumulating musty smells. You open your wardrobe, look for that item you haven't worn in a while, and as soon as you bring it to your face, the smell gives you away. Mustiness. There may not be visible stains, but the odor is there, permeated into the fibers. This also happens with towels that have been stored for a long time, bedding, coats, and even bags and shoes. And the worst thing is that even after washing, sometimes the smell persists. The origin of this problem is almost always the same: moisture trapped between fabrics and lack of ventilation in the closet. Even if the environment seems dry, small levels of humidity in the air are enough to, over time, create the ideal environment for fungi to grow. But there is a solution, and it starts in how you store your parts. The first rule is to never store anything damp. This includes clothes that have just been ironed, washed items that still have slight moisture in the seams, and towels that have been used once and are only half dry. All clothes stored must be completely dry, even if it seems excessive. The second tip is to use natural sachets inside cabinets and drawers. A cotton bag with baking soda and a few drops of lavender, tea tree, or rosemary essential oil helps to keep the environment dry and fragrant. You can also use bags of charcoal or pieces of school chalk. Yes, chalk absorbs moisture like few other products and is great for drawers. Avoid storing clothes in plastic packaging for long periods. Plastic prevents air exchange and encourages moisture condensation. Choose breathable fabric covers or even light cloths like TNT. Another valuable habit is open closet doors regularly to ventilate the interior, especially on drier days. Leaving the wardrobe closed for weeks only accelerates the proliferation of fungi and traps stuffy air between the clothes. And one more precaution that is worth its weight in gold: wash clothes that have been stored for a long time before using them again. Even if they are clean at first glance, the musty smell may be present, and when worn, it reactivates with body heat. Keeping tissues protected requires attention, but not effort. Just get into the habit of taking care of how you store and ventilate. This way, your clothes will last longer, your drawers will smell good, and mold simply won't have anywhere to settle. Tip 7. Infiltration-free walls. How to identify and act before the problem grows. Not all mold is immediately visible. Sometimes it starts silently behind the paint, infiltrated into the wall, and only shows signs when it is already advanced. Seepage is one of the most insidious causes of chronic damp. And the worst thing is that if it is not treated at the root, no product, no matter how good it is, will prevent mold from returning. The first step is to learn to identify the signs: yellowish or dark spots that gradually appear on the wall, paint that starts to swell or peel, plaster that feels damp to the touch. All of these could be signs of infiltration. The most common thing is that these stains appear on external walls, close to wet areas, such as bathrooms, kitchens, or laundry rooms, or on walls that border the ground, such as basements or lower rooms. If you notice these signs, the ideal is investigate the source of moisture. It could be an internal leak in a pipe, a crack in the external wall that lets rainwater enter, or even the lack of correct waterproofing of the structure. For light infiltrations, a good anti-mold and waterproofing paint will help contain the advance. But if the wall is constantly damp, you need to solve the structural problem first. Meanwhile, an effective tip is to use room fans facing the affected wall, at least for a few hours a day. This helps speed up moisture evaporation and prevent mold from spreading. You can also position containers with quicklime or silica gel close to the wall to absorb excess moisture in the air. If the musty smell is very strong in that area of the house, a simple mixture can help neutralize it. White vinegar with a few drops of essential oil. Spray on the affected walls, being careful not to overdo it. The vinegar helps kill the fungi on the surface, and the aroma of the essential oil alleviates the unpleasant smell. And finally, avoid placing large furniture against these walls. Leaving a minimum space for air to circulate is essential to prevent moisture from being trapped between the furniture and the wall, which only makes the situation worse. Treating the wall early when the signs are still small can avoid major losses later on. It's like stopping a leak before it floods the house. Prevention, in this case, is everything. Tip 8. Clothes and shoes that are rarely used. How to avoid mold even on items you hardly touch. Some pieces go months without being used. Winter coats, spare bedding, party dresses, shoes stored in boxes, bags saved for special occasions. And when we finally decide to get them, there it is, the mold. Or worse, that stuffy, damp smell, even though nothing visible is there. This happens because these pieces, as they sit for a long time and are generally stored in closed places, become perfect targets for the silent growth of the fungus. It is important to understand that mold doesn't need dirt to grow. It needs humidity, little light, and little air circulation. In other words, everything that exists in a closed closet and forgotten for weeks. Therefore, the secret to preserving these pieces lies in how you store them and, most importantly, how you revisit them. First tip, do not store items without washing even if they appear clean. Often a dress has been worn once, for a few hours, and is stored again without washing. But invisible residues of sweat, perfume, or even particles from the environment remain on the fabric, and these residues, over time, feed fungi and bacteria. Second, do not completely seal parts in plastic bags for long periods. Plastic prevents air exchange, retains any moisture present in the fabric, and in a short time, creates an environment conducive to mold. Choose non-woven covers, light cotton, or even breathable cloths. Third, create a breathing routine for the stored pieces. From time to time, open your closet, take out your occasional clothes, and hang them for a few hours in a cool, shaded place. No need to wash. Just by ventilating, you break the cycle of stagnant humidity. The same goes for shoes and bags. Take them out of the boxes, let them air, open the zippers, loosen the straps. To further reinforce this protection, place homemade dehumidifier sachets close to these parts. Mix coarse salt, bicarbonate, and a few drops of clove or lavender essential oil, and distribute in fabric bags. They help keep the environment dry and fragrant for weeks. And remember, the longer an item is stored without ventilation, the more difficult it is to remove the smell afterwards. Therefore, creating a habit of checking these items periodically makes all the difference, not only to keep clothes mold-free, but also to preserve their texture, color, and durability. Tip 9. Musty smell in the environment. How to neutralize the odor and leave your home with truly fresh air. Have you ever walked into your house and smelled a strange smell in the air? A muffled, somewhat sweet aroma that seems to come from the walls, closets, or even fabrics. Even after cleaning everything, the smell is still there, as if it were permeating the air. This is the famous musty smell, and it is a clear sign that the fungus hasn't only been there, but may still be active somewhere. Many people try to solve this problem with artificial air fresheners, scented candles, or room sprays, and although they can mask the smell for a few hours, the truth is that they don't eliminate the cause, they just cover the symptoms. To truly neutralize the musty smell, you need to attack the invisible moisture that is in the air and that feeds microorganisms. The first step is reinforced ventilation. It may seem repetitive, but no trick works if the air isn't circulating. Open windows, doors, create drafts, even if just for 15 minutes a day. This already reduces the concentration of the odor and allows the environment to breathe. Then bet on natural neutralizers. One of the most effective is white vinegar. Place a glass of pure vinegar in an open container and place it in the rooms where the smell is strongest. Vinegar absorbs the odor of the environment without leaving its own smell and can be reinforced with drops of essential oil if you want an aromatic touch. Another powerful option is baking soda, especially in smaller environments such as closets, drawers, or shoe racks. Place 2 spoons of baking soda in an open pot and change it every 2 weeks. It will absorb both the smell and the light moisture in the air. If the smell comes from upholstery, such as sofas, mattresses, or armchairs, it is worth spraying a mixture of water and vinegar and leaving the furniture in a ventilated place to dry naturally. A solution of equal parts vinegar and water with a few drops of essential oil can also be sprayed on curtains and carpets. The secret is in the lightness of application and complete drying. To reinforce the feeling of freshness, you can prepare a homemade air freshener with grain alcohol, water, essential oil of your choice, and a few drops of propolis extract or tea tree oil, which also have antifungal action. This way, in addition to perfuming, you help prevent mold from returning. Eliminating the musty smell is possible, yes, but it requires constant action. It's not enough to hide the odor. You need to actively dehumidify, ventilate, and neutralize. Only then will your home stop looking stuffy and become a truly fresh, clean, and healthy environment. Tip 10. Ongoing prevention. Create a simple routine that stops mold from coming back. Have you already cleaned everything, ventilated it, dried the walls, put bicarbonate of soda, looked after the cupboards, and yet weeks later, the mold reappeared? This happens because combating humidity and mold is not a one-off action. It is continuous care. And that's exactly why the last tip is perhaps the most important. Create a light and practical prevention routine that fits into your everyday life without requiring extra effort. Mold is opportunistic. It appears when we relax. A week with closed windows, a stuffy bathroom, a forgotten item of clothing at the back of the closet. And that's it. It finds room to grow again. Therefore, prevention needs to become part of your home routine, just like you already do with dishes or trash. How to do this in practice? Start with a short list of fixed habits. Open windows every day, dry the shower after showering, leave closet doors open once a week, check behind the furniture every fortnight. Simple, quick things that take just a few minutes, but make a huge difference in the long term. Additionally, adopt permanent home dehumidifiers. Choose the most critical points in the house and keep small pots of coarse salt, charcoal, or bicarbonate in them. Mark your calendar to change them once a month. You can also leave subtle warnings around your home, like a reminder on your bathroom mirror. Leave the door open after showering. Small touches that reinforce consistency. Another preventative care is to include the use of vinegar or antifungal oils in your weekly cleanings. It doesn't have to be every time, but once a week, spray vinegar on the most humid areas of the house, such as tiles, cold walls, and corners of cabinets. If you prefer a more pleasant scent, add drops of lavender, tea tree, or lemon. And here's a secret. If you do all of this consistently, the mold will stop coming back because the environment is no longer conducive to it. Moisture does not accumulate, air circulates, fungi do not find fertile ground. Your home becomes a light, airy, healthy place. Continuous prevention is what separates those who are always putting out fires from those who live at peace in their own home. So, more than cleaning mold, Create a routine that keeps it at bay, and over time, you won't even remember what it was like to live with that stuffy smell or those unwanted stains. Now that you know these 10 practical and effective strategies, it's clear that eliminating moisture and mold permanently is not an impossible mission, and it doesn't have to be expensive, complicated, or tiring either. With small changes in everyday life, with attention to details that previously went unnoticed, you can transform the environment in your home. More than just removing stains from walls, you now know how to interrupt the moisture cycle and prevent mold from returning. Ventilating environments, moving furniture away, taking care of the bathroom, protecting fabrics, and neutralizing odors are simple but powerful actions. And when they become routine, the result appears naturally: a lighter, drier, healthier home. And most importantly, an environment where you and your family can breathe calmly, without that stuffy smell, without worrying about fungi or stains that appear out of nowhere. This is not luxury. This is care. This is consciousness. This is quality of life. Now I want to challenge you. Choose one of these 10 tips today and put it into practice. It could be daily ventilation, changing the bicarbonate in the cupboards, drying the shower, or reviewing the stored clothes. What matters is getting started. And after a week, see how the environment changes. You will feel it in the smell, in the lightness of the air, in the feeling of comfort when entering the house. If this content helped you in any way, share it with someone who is also facing this problem. And tell me here in the comments, which of these tips will you apply first? And of course, if you want to continue receiving practical tips to keep your home always clean, smelling good, and organized without extra effort, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, there is new content to help you live better, with less stress and more well-being at home. See you in the next video. Until then,